between our two teams, Tricked Esport and the Playing Ducks. And it's crazy to think, Tricked Esport is up 2-0, but man, the games don't fully echo that.
I actually exchanged a couple of words with Alex during the break, and he said that first thing he asked me was, how did you enjoy us griefing on the last map? And he just basically said they were laughing the entire time as they were losing the game, just basically saying like, oh my god, how did this just happen?
That leadership right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Your way to victory.
The leadership that we saw yesterday. I love, by the way, that we had that also as a clip earlier on. It's the epitome of what Tricked is right now.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of friends that play together on a really high level and have a lot of fun doing so.
Sometimes you have synergy and sometimes you feed. Let's see if Tricked Esports will feed or work together here on our next battleground. Where are we going? It's going to be Dragonshire, the Playing Ducks. We'll
Love
pick
it.
up.
Love it. And again, the map choice over the first pick. So we have Dragonshire coming in as the map, coordination really being needed here. And I really like that. And you know what? I could actually see Chen being banned out again.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the maps where we have seen Chen played. Chen and Leoric as the top lane are definitely two heroes that we have to keep in mind. Don't necessarily think that from Tricked we're going to see a Sonya.
Sure.
If a Sonya, I would say she's going to be played by the Ducks. Eternal could be on the hero.
I wonder how the roster for the Ducks would handle Chen, though, because Nande used to run a lot of Chen on this battleground. In fact, he was probably he was the second person that actually pulled it off in the first phase. But Nande is now the main tank. Would they allow him to run that Chen?
That's why I actually think that the Ducks are not going to run the Chen.
Yeah,
that
they would
it's going to
ban
be
it.
Tricked if they do it. That's the only reason I have behind that. So if a Chen, I would expect it on the side of Tricked, but it's definitely an option here. But still, we have Leoric for the top lane. Then it comes down to, is the Haka banned, for example? Is there going to be an early pick on what's happening with Leoric? But the first thing that happens is that Tricked is saying, okay, let's get the Abathur out of the way first. Same that they did in the last few games. And the Ducks, that's the big question, of course, now. What do they negate Tricked? And they negate the global, they negate the top laner. They are saying, no macro game for you, no wave play at the top. We're going to get rid of the Haka, and let's see just how it plays out.
Will it be Genji again here for Tricked Esport? The answer is no. They switch it up, and we got a voila.
Okay, so once again, they played already their double support, and it was with Auriel Rhaegar. They don't necessarily rely on the Uther, and that makes them very dangerous, I think, because oftentimes when you think about Vala, you think about Tassadar, you think about Auriel, and you have Baby in the back of your head, the Uther, of course, too. But now the Ducks are sitting here and saying, what are we picking? Do we go into a Noob and Uther? Do we take Genji here? Which hero do we really run with
Typically,
now?
you take the a Noob and Uther has been the tradition of what people go for. But is there a world where we grab, they're going to Genji and a Noob instead? Okay. They just leave them both up.
So they go Genji and Noob, and say, if you want the Uther, you can have him. And they take Uther plus Auriel. So Vala online, and this is going to be good.
Yeah, that's
going to be
draft.
really exciting.
Just a theory crop for a second, Caldor. How awkward would it be, well, D.Va being banned right away, if Vala was first picked and then you answered back by taking Uther and Auriel yourself? Is that too crazy of a draft? Because you leave up a noob rack for the opposing team?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
I feel like with everything else, because you don't have to play Vala as a hyper carry. So if your opponent goes into those, you're guaranteed a pick on a Nubarak. You can have the Genji as well, and all of a sudden you have a massive setup there, and your opponent has to think, okay, we have double support now. What do we support?
Zul'jin.
Yeah, I guess, but then you have a Nubarak coming in and just saying like, hey, there's a cocoon for you. Have a good day.
Details. Who cares about those?
Talking details, as expected. Well, I didn't expect the ban, but as I said when we were heading into the draft, if a Sonya, it's going to be on the side of the Ducks.
Yep.
Eternal is great on the hero. So it's banned out, Sonya taken away, and with that we're having Tricked, I feel, in a really decent spot.
Yeah, really good spot here. The Sonya ban taken away. Typically in the past we've seen him run Artanis on the top, but that was a long time ago. Other options, Dahaka being out. There's always that Chen floating around, but Chen against Auriel, Uther, and Vala, could it be powerful enough?
Okay, so the Cassia. Now, the Ducks already played Cassia once, and that was Infernal Shrines, and they are going into a very melee-heavy composition once more. So it's very reminiscent. And there's the Chen.
There's the Chen.
As I said, Chen on the side of Tricked. I like it.
Okay, so
Top
Chen
lane.
here. We have Auriel, Vala, and Uther. Got some decent wave clear already. Chen for that top lane. Is it going to be another tank for that fifth pickup?
Yeah, definitely. They will have Chen at the top lane, and now they need another tank that can rotate with the 4-man. So we could maybe see a Johanna here. There's a few options, of course, for them. If you're still worried about your wave clear, you can go into the Johanna and just survive with her for now. You have also the option to move out with your Iron Skin. There's a couple of other tanks. It's just basically you need a really beefy tank at this point. And the Stitches, I guess, works with it. You have Uther, so you can go for the stun. I like that too. Didn't even cross my mind, to be absolutely honest with you, but the Stitches works here.
They did this yesterday, didn't they? Stitches into Cassia? No, this was Playing Ducks versus Zealots.
Yeah.
Stitches was picked after Cassia was picked. This is becoming a bit of a trend here in Europe where we see the counter pickup.
I wouldn't go that far. Morales is interesting as a last pick, by the way. But I feel there's a big difference between the Stitches that we've seen yesterday and what we have now. When it was picked yesterday, it was a high focus on the slam build, where especially with the Pulverize, you were trying to counter the 3 melee heroes, or 4 even, that we had. And it was a very different map because it was Infernal Shrines. So out of the slam build, you get even more value. You just slam down the entire time and get the minions on the shrine. Here you don't have that, so you can still play the slam build, but I feel this is going to have a bit more of an emphasis on the hooks, because you rotate between the mid and the bot lane, so you can just see if you can get a good pick off. Uther can get the stun. Yesterday, I think it was more catering towards the map in terms of wave clear, and also the slow with the Pulverize after 16 against the melee heavy setup.
Big tweet here. HGC Face talking it up. They're talking about the entire event, and we love hearing from you guys. Please feel free to hit us up at Heroes Esports.
I didn't even see it.
I missed it too. It ran away at the last second. Come on, Josh. Letting us down again. Oh, he's breaking one. That was a crazy game between Tricked Esport and the Playing Ducks. Super fun to watch. Hashtag HGC. It was.
That ending.
Yeah, that ending was fantastic. The Playing Ducks for a couple of seconds started to play out of their mind, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, that last team fight, killing 4 heroes, and it looked like they would walk away with a victory. But then Tricked survives and takes the 2-0 lead, which is crazy. We have them 1 game away from 3-0ing the Ducks. And think about what that would mean for the Playing Ducks now. They felt confident going into the season. We had so many teams saying, hey, you know what? Playing Ducks, they look really strong right now. But if they lose here, that means that they have lost 6 games in a row, that they haven't won a single map yet in 2 matches. That would be soul-crushing.
That would hurt. I mean, it's a bit of an identity crisis. Like, what are we doing as a team? But granted, it's only the first week, so they should be able to power through, but we'll figure it all out. Now, let's go ahead and get ready for game number 3. Can Tricked Esport finish it with a 3-0, or will the Playing Ducks start to fight back?
We find ourselves on Dragonshire for game number 3, and Tricked Esports is in the lead. With a 2-0, the Ducks are in trouble. And to the left side in blue, we have Tricked with Crosby playing Vala. Alex on the Chen to the top lane. Marke, the new addition to the team, is playing Uther, the second support, as we have Gnappe on his Oriel and Remaballer on Stitches.
To the far right, in the red, the Playing Ducks. We're going to have Sport Billy on the Genji, Eternal on Arthas, Wolf Joe playing Morales, Nande on a Nubarak, and Chris on the Cassia. I'm interested to see how Make plays off this Uther. Saw him on Rhaegar yesterday for a little bit there. I believe it was Rhaegar. Seemed a little bit on the different side, again, playing these different heroes for his team.
Yeah, yesterday he played 5 different heroes in 5 different games, and he just continues to impress. So I'm excited. This season is going to be good. And you know, I had a bit of fun also in the draft, because we saw D.Va immediately being banned out there. And it echoed a little bit what we had other pros that are watching the games right now also say. Mene, for example, on Twitter was talking about how he doesn't even understand how are the Ducks losing every fight. And immediately we had other pro players chip in, BKB saying Alex the Progy on the D.Va is just absolutely OP, he's totally busted. And also Blumby, one of the best tanks in Europe, echoing that sentiment and just saying Alex is a D.Va god, and he really made those plays. So it was a fascinating game. D.Va gets banned out as a result to the 2 games that we saw, and the Ducks right now playing a different style, having even Morales in their setup. They need to switch it up.
Well, we'll see if the ban's going to be enough here for them to get a victory over Tricked Esports. Already, though, we have Rimmer in trouble, taking damage on the right side. The auto attack's coming in as Chris is looking for the kill. Rimmer low on health, and finally he will be picked off.
Yeah, so that's a first kill here for the Ducks, and I like this. They come out swinging, and they're getting their kill here. They need to really make something happen now. Yesterday, it was Tricked Esports that made the reverse sweep possible. Today, it has to be the Ducks, unless they are okay going down 0-2 in the season, and I don't think that's going to be the case. Maka with his boys at the bot lane, trying to push that in. And up to the top, of course, that battle between Arthas and Chen still raging.
Chen will continue to rage up there, but here's Nande burrowing over and gonna miss out pretty much everything on that bottom lane. Crosby answering back, and this is kind of a fun dynamic. Morales and Cassia versus Vala, Uther, and Ariel. These auto attack hyper carries coming in here, and we'll see who will get the upper hand. Tricked Esport, you would think it would be them with the upper hand simply because it's a 3-on-2, but Cassia with that trait really being tanky there can be a nuisance as well.
Yeah, Cassia is able to drop so much damage if you play that right, and if you have a if you have a stun, especially in later team fights with, for example, Arthas dropping a quick Howling Blast and then slowing the target, you can get so much damage in. It's crazy, especially if Nande is also able to isolate other targets and make sure that there's nobody interrupting this. But for now, we have a very strong 4-man, 4 Trick doing work at that bot lane, and the Shrine still under the control of Trick as Genji moves in, SportBD looking for an angle.
All eyes on this bottom lane as both teams trade out. Nothing really happening overall, but Tricked Esports continues to take the control of the Shrine and the bottom. And you're right about that Uther and that Ariel. If any of the stuns come out, that's where Cassia will fall victim. If so far, Chris has to be making sure to be on point, not to get hit with stuns there. He's been very close to Make so far, but always right on the edge of being hit with the stun.
Yeah, and he needs to be really cautious about that. Rimmer Baller for the second time. Now, there's a problem with Stitches. You don't have an escape, and he has been stuck in the mid lane quite a bit. And with the rotations happening, with especially Arthas moving down, he just couldn't walk away there. You have the Howling Blast and the slow against you, the stuns on top of that, so you have absolutely no way of getting out there. And that's the second time that Stitches has fallen. So the Ducks are definitely putting in the pressure by rotating between the lanes much more heavily than Tricked, and they are being rewarded with a half-level lead.
Will the Playing Ducks come back? A good question for you guys all at home.
Let us know.
Yeah, I believe. I think they got this, man. You know, gotta get one victory underneath your hand here, go to a Game 5 and make it a fun series.
And let us know on Twitter, hashtag HGC. You're always welcome to tag us in the tweets as well. We're interested to see what you guys think. As Rema hits a very impressive hook there, but unfortunately he's very much alone. It's like a typical situation where you get the hook in and they're like, team.
It's quite an emotional roller coaster when you hit a Genji with a hook. You're like, oh my god, I hit a Genji, and then you're like, wait a minute, you just jumped away anyways.
One of the most impressive moments that I've still seen with Stitches play is just JPL. The Stitches got himself when we saw Battlefield play in the final at the mid-season brawl, and he anticipated the dash of Genji and hooked him after the dash. That was fantastic.
You know it's a good moment when you just mention his name, and my brain automatically jumps to that moment and replays it. That's how epic that was. If you still haven't had the chance, make sure to check out those grand finals. They were awesome. Crosby taking damage here on the bottom left. Chris moving in there, working in the auto attacks, but Nabe and Make will keep him up. Crosby answers back, but he's starting to run pretty low on mana. Yeah,
and we have now Ducks taking position at that bot lane. Overall, both of the teams still even in experience, and this is just a great game here. The Ducks are, of course, with the back to the wall, but they go again for Crosby. Nice blind defend, not hitting enough damage though, since Vala uses the ball to get out of it. But Crosby needs to retreat here. Chris, with the help of Wolfjoy, is doing so well. And you know what? Up to this point, I'm really liking the Morales here, because if you have such a melee-heavy front line that is just trying to jump on you, getting close to Morales is always putting you into danger, and it's really tricky. So I feel the only thing that can really happen is either a good hook, or later on in the game, Chen saying, I got this, and jumping on Morales, trying to just push her off the heal targets.
Stormwind and Fire and really keep her from healing up. Could be good for that level 10, but for now, Wolfjoy reigns supreme, holding that bottom lane well. Alex Aproji, he's getting a little bit on the aggressive side here. Not as he come in for the rotation, but he'll just hop away and continue to move from that location. Will he live? We'll see soon as the bottom lane continues to have this 2-on-3.
Alex so far still fine. Down here on the other hand, we still have the poke. Both of the shrines under the control of Tricked Esports. And that is putting pressure on the Ducks, but they will have the earlier level 10, and that is a big relief here.
He gets it up here. Sport Billy jumps out though. It's going to be fine. Both teams continue to trade back and forth. Yet a kill here for Tricked Esports, but Playing Ducks with their two are looking for another one. They move in for Crosby, dropping down the Surge of Light. He's still able to get out.
Yeah, once again, so they're starting to move in right over here. In mid lane is also contested. The 10 is important. Crosby goes forward, tries to get a few more hits in before the heroic abilities drop for the Ducks. But at the top, Alex, he's just not caring. He just jumps in with his Chen and has fun.
I think Shen's one of those heroes, too, that when your opponent gets a heroic, if it's not a major stun, you still don't mind fighting at a talent disadvantage there and continuing to keep up with that Arthas and control that top lane. While the bottom lane is being controlled pretty well here by the Ducks, as Trick Esports is waiting for that 10.
Alex, on the other hand, okay, he has his 10, and he can drop the triple panda. So he's actually putting the pressure on now as we speak. And that was a close call. He needs to make sure that he moves out of there because he will die if he doesn't pay attention.
He's able to get out there. Duration will finish up, and Shen is going to be able to be the solo panda for a moment here. Heal on up, but both of our teams being 10. And it's become difficult, once again, to control those shrines. I feel like it's going to come down to Nande for the playing Ducks for them to actually get these kills. Landing a cocoon on an important target will allow for them to move in and get that aggressive play we're expecting.
It feels to me right now as if a lot of the execution is really on the shoulders of the Ducks. They are the ones putting in a lot of effort here, whereas we have a double support Vala chilling at the bot lane, a Chen chilling top. Now on the other hand, defend already. Nice, saving, oh my god, saving Vala and then going straight for the Genji, getting the kill, but Nappe himself is low. Vala has fallen, and the Ducks, even though they lose the first hero, just come in swinging, taking down 2.
Yeah, Trick Esports needs to retreat from here, and Maka gets landed with the Holly Blast. Eternal steps forwards, bringing out the Tempest here. Can they get the kill on Maka? The answer is yes with the body blocks, and the playing Ducks will get 3 kills.
Really impressed by what we just saw from the Ducks. After the Divine Storm came out, Uther was able to drop Genji with the rest of them, and it was an insane save just seconds before that of Vala, who was very, very low. But now we have a Dragon Knight on the back of this team fight. Great play by the Ducks, really well coordinated, and just not enough on the side of Trick to stop this onslaught.
Now let's see if they can open up the battleground. They're actually really close to 13 too, so they move forward, they move in and grist some damage there. Rimmer trying to delay this Dragon slightly with a hook, but that bottom lane is the main target for the Ducks. They bring a few movers down, and those turrets themselves will get them close to that 13.
Yeah, the 13 is going to be a massive lead for them. So they take a really solid advantage now in the game. If they can drop a few structures, that would be even better. So the Dragon Knight, as you could see here, waits until the wave is gone. The reason is now that the minions are approaching the towers and the fort, those will soak the shots off the towers. That means the Dragon Knight survives a little bit longer. Keep that also in mind for your own games when you're playing in Hero League or Quick Match and Team League, that with a Dragon Knight, you don't have to rush in. You've got enough time to wait for your minions to approach a wall, to approach a fort, so that they soak the shots and you are going to get more value out of the objective.
Poke continues here from Crosby. Finally having mana compared to what they had in the laning phase earlier, is able to bring that multi-shot in there and burn down that front line. The Dragon finally being dealt with, and Turkey Esports will have a solid defense overall against that Dragon that was pushing into them.
Yeah, it was actually really well done. They lost a few structures, but nothing too crazy. It's still a solid lead for the playing Ducks, but as long as Trick waits with the next team fight until they have their own level 13 talent, and therefore a bit of a power boost, they should be fine here. But the Ducks have 5 kills to 1, and that's first of all because of good rotations in the early game and kills against an isolated Stitches, and second of all because they were able to win that big team fight. And they go for Stitches once again. Double support is there. Aegis already used. Attempt to zone. And it's just absolutely fantastic. They're body blocking Stitches the entire time. It's a 4 versus 5. Vala even falling, but Genji pays with his life for it.
Gotta love how the engagement came in. They first off got on that Stitches, went in for the body blocks, the Aegis came out, Arthas stood forward, made sure to lock it down, and the moment that the Aegis concluded, Cocoon came out on Uther to make sure he could not live.
Exactly, and what they also did, they had that trap set up the entire time.
Yeah.
They were sitting in the brush there, and they're saying like, yeah, we're waiting until everybody moves away, Stitches is alone, now we go in. And they know the healers are still there, but as long as they body block him, they can still secure the kill. And Chen at the top lane doesn't have an opportunity to rotate down in time. And if you look at the experience now, it's a massive advantage for the Ducks.
This is the first time that we've seen the Ducks in the lead in this series since the first match we saw them on Curse Solo get to 10 quicker. But for now, the Ducks in a strong lead moving into the late game, which is always great when you have a composition like Cassia where you want to get in there and force the fights to happen pretty darn quickly. So Trick Esports, 15-13 now, are starting to float down as a unit of 5. It seems like they're going to go ahead and start calling it here. Let's start grouping as a team and try to force something to happen.
Yeah, Trick would love to fight now before the 16 hits because they're so far behind, and a team fight would go a long way for them now if they can take it, of course. and they are currently trying to do that. Alex is already there looking for another jump. They get, oh my god, Eternal nearly the hook, and that would have been horrible for Arthurs, but they are able to move away. Strafe used, zoning the opponent out, and you can tell that the Ducks are just sitting there saying, you know what, we don't need this fight.
Yep.
We're totally happy to just wait a little bit longer to make sure that we have the 16 advantage.
Yeah, and Sport Billy head to the bottom here to grab the Dragon just to make sure nothing is set up for the team, and they go about soaking here. In fact, they even grab the top shrine as well, so the Ducks in a great spot as they continue to set for that 16. Alex Aproji trying to make something happen, though. He charges in, jumps on Chris. Arthas will get the top lane. Genji is floating around. He could move towards that Dragon, but Stitches is on there to stop it from happening.
Trick is in trouble. They're in a lot of trouble now. The Ducks are running the game at this point, and now they wait for the 16, and then they will make their play for the Dragon Knight. Ideally get a fight as well, and for Trick, this is a really uncomfortable position to be in. The pressure is on them. They need to soak. They need to avoid fights and somehow take control of at least one of the shrines. So they might be just splitting and trying to rotate, and that's what we're seeing now. We have Stitches rotate to the top, so they're just simply trying to rotate around the Ducks and trying to always control one of the shrines. But this is a game that you can't play for too long.
Yeah, I think if you aren't able to get a rotation in properly to stop that, just give it up here. 16 to 15, they're going to push in the bottom and get that fort. But you can hold after that. You can soak appropriately here, get your 16 yourself, and Trick Esports will do just that. They'll control the middle lane, grab their experience, and then rotate bottom and defend.
Yeah, so Stitches didn't really go for it there. It was a bit too afraid that there was a setup. And in a situation like this, what you also should do, always play with vision. Try to hide your heroes.
Yeah.
Don't just run into a minion wave with, for example, I don't know, a Genji or Morales. You don't need that. Keep a few heroes hidden just outside while the rest of your team with more wave clear clears the waves, and then you will keep your opponent guessing. For now, they are going in. They have the 16, they have the Dragon Knight. Ideally, they take a keep here, but Trick is close to hitting the next level as well.
Alex Aproji just cannot move here. Finally, he's able to get out, but he took a beating for his team. 16 still not here for Trick Esport. They're also going to use a multiple amount of heroics as they also use Strafe. Sport Billy and crew will step forward, and they're looking for a fort.
Eternal with the army right now. Zoning happens. Alex already on the triple panda trying to go in. Nappe takes a lot of damage here. Gets stunned once. Dragon Knight is out. Genji jumps in, hits the Dragon Knight. Wants the kill. Does he get it? It looks like he will.
He's going to get the kill, but the Divine Storm comes out. They're looking at Eternal. They're bringing out the damage. Wolf Joe is here to tap everyone off, though. Make getting low on health, and he will fall.
Uther is down. It's still 15. Finally 16 hits, but it's too late. The keep is attacked. With Uther not dying, they might have had a chance there, but now that he's gone, it's a problem. But look at that. They actually move back here. So Trick lost 2 players, but they saved the keep, and that was really important. Eternal had to go back, so in this situation, I would count that as a win.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you. With Cassia and Genji on the opposing team, it's a bit difficult to actually walk in and commit to that keep. Say if that Cassia was a Vala, definitely. You move in for that keep and use that 5v3 advantage. But them having that shorter range and not really the upfront amount of damage that you would need, playing Ducks plays it safe, and they pull away. And you're right, Twitch Esports now at 16 can look towards team fights. They're actually on their way to the bottom right. Maybe game sense kicking in a little bit here, hoping to get an invade on their opponents.
So right now, Trick is still 2 levels behind, but they're on 16 talents. They have saved the keep, they're with 5 men on the map. Now they want to fight. This is a moment where you can fight, and this is a moment that's dangerous for the Ducks. It's very deceiving if you look at the levels in any game where you're 2 levels up if you're still on the same talent, because it's the best opportunity for your opponent to force a fight and to try and turn this around. There's still the underdog bonus that you get if you win a team fight. So if Trick now takes 3-4 kills, for example, they will get a massive experience boost that puts them much closer to the level that the Ducks are at. And we are fighting over a shrine, so all that Trick has to do right now in their mind is force a battle, win a fight, get a Dragon Knight behind of it, and equalize the game.
The playing Ducks, though, can take their advantage and their knowledge of where Trick Esports is and push other lanes. They could push the top lane with the Mercenary Cam, start working on a fort to force Trick Esport to pull on back. They could even get the middle lane pushed in and start working on that fort. So playing Ducks should just play it nice and safe and slow. They're only 1 level away from 20.
And they are very mobile also with the medevac on the side of Morales, so they can use that. Oftentimes, Medivac is used in a fight to just give yourself another life bar that you can then use to reposition yourself. But you can also use that to just simply cross the map here and maybe burst another fort down. That's more experience that you have. And once the Ducks hit 20, it means that Tricked is just even farther behind. So they are just playing around them. The playing Ducks, look at how they play with vision. They don't show on the map at all. They go the long paths, the safe paths, because they know Tricked is going to be waiting in these brushes. Don't take the direct path here. Always think about, what does my opponent want? Where could they possibly be? How can I lose this game? And the only way how the Ducks are losing this now is if they fall into a trap.
And Tricked Esport is looking for that. They're hunting, and they're missing experience, especially in that top lane, because they're trying so hard to make it happen before the Dragon pops up or 20 even connects. And the playing Ducks, as you mentioned, are just playing this too well at the moment, and they're getting closer and closer to that 20. I don't think Tricked Esports is going to get the fight they want.
Also, they keep at the top lane, also, sorry, the fort at the top lane is about to fall. And Tricked is now doing one of the things they can do, just destroy a few structures, get a little bit of experience at least. But I think at this point, they already realize they will not be able to force a fight before level 20.
Game of chess between our two teams here.
I like
Waiting
it.
for 20 to hit, yeah. I mean, this doesn't look like the most eventful thing in the world, but there's a lot happening between our two teams, especially on the playing Ducks. They are playing well here,
again,
really.
Guys, this is, if you really want to learn something for your own games, just rewatch what you've just seen happen after level 16 for Tricked hit and watch the minimap and see how the Ducks move, what paths they take, how they try to avoid running into minion waves and vision, and how Tricked is the entire time looking for fights. This is one of the things that a lot of people need to learn in Heroes. It's patience. It's identifying when you have an advantage. This is the trap though.
Wow.
And unbelievable. Playing Ducks played it perfect. They did everything they had to do, and Tricked went for the one Hail Mary attempt at the Dragon Knight, and they get the pick off after all. This is, for the Ducks, this is one of the most frustrating things to happen ever.
Yeah, you go for the Hail Mary, and they actually connect with the football there. Crazy here for Tricked Esports. That hook coming in there, the Divine Storm being used just to land it overall.
I just complimented them how well they played, and they did! And then you have a situation like this occur, where with the 20, you run into a trap. It's still great for the Ducks, don't get me wrong, but this is the moment where they said, guys, we might be able to end.
I mean, it's an additional lesson compared to the lesson that you just taught. Sometimes in Heroes, things just don't go your way, and even if you do play it perfectly, and it seems like it's perfect, there's always the element of your opposing team to throw a wrench in your plan, and that hook was that wrench, and Tricked Esports now has the opportunity to move around the battleground and get their own 20. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to soak here to make sure they have 20 in case they lose a Dragon.
The chances that Tricked is losing the Dragon Knight are still extremely high. But as long as they hit their own level 20 talent by the time that the Ducks have the Dragon Knight, it will be okay.
Yes, they bettered their defense here rather than their offense.
Exactly. Of course, in an ideal world, they would still get another pick and they get a Dragon Knight themselves. But even if they just achieve the 20 in time to defend with the Dragon Knight, that would already go a long way for them.
Look how Namde came in here to check everything out first and make sure that the same maneuver would not happen here. 19.5 level to 24. Tricked Esports playing Ducks with 20 and a Dragon are looking for that bottom keep, and Tricked will be doing everything they can here to soak up.
Still rough. The lanes are pushed out. There's no experience on the lanes for Trick that they can gather with someone that is just simply split from the team, so they have to defend at the bot lane. The keep is forfeit. You know you're going to lose the keep. This only question here is, are you losing the game, yes or no?
Poka set up here on the right side, looking for Morales. Sport Billy or Chris would be a good target too. Rimmer's here, floating around. The Dragon's going deep. The keep has fallen.
Eternal should just go for the core now.
He's going for it. He's moving in. Alex Aproji trying to tank as much as they can here. Genji diving in as well. Crosby will use the strafe.
Yeah, strafe already used. He's hammering away at the core. This is looking good for the Ducks. There goes the first kill. Genji is down, but the Dragon Knight has so much damage. Still, we have Morales moving back. They're trying to somehow save it. Eternal nearly losing the Dragon Knight. Cassia is down. This is going to be close. It's going to be really close. Nanda is there. Once again, Arthur's trying his best, but we have Wolfjo coming in now, 5% on the core, 2-1, and it is over. Barely the Ducks are able to take a game of Tricked Esports.
Playing Ducks getting a victory here and awarding us with a game number 4 in this best of 5 series. Nice coordinated play there towards the end. They grab the Dragon and they make the call to move in for it. It was a close one, but they got it done.
It really was a close one, and if the 20 had hit, this is just so close. You could see that Alex on the minimap, when they realized we are going to lose the Dragon Knight right now, he went to the top lane and he soaked one wave after another. Their problem was that the mid lane was already completely pushed out and the top lane after that too. So there was no experience for him to get on the top and mid lane. So the only lane where they could go was the bot lane where the Dragon Knight moved through. If there was another wave or two that he could have gotten for the 20, this defense would have looked very different, and I would say in this case the Ducks could not have ended.
Yeah, gotta agree with you. And it all comes down to that early game, too. Stitch is getting caught out a lot there, really put the Playing Ducks in a position where their small amount of kills gave them just enough experience to get to that late game and get to a spot where they control the dragons. I don't think we saw a single dragon for Trick Esports on the left side.
No.
They had a hard time controlling the battleground after the Playing Ducks got a slight lead.
Yeah, they fell very much behind in experience and had a rough time playing on even levels. But it's also because the Ducks just control the map so well.
Yeah.
So I can only echo what I said earlier. If you want to learn something for your own plays, and especially when it comes to playing patient and identifying when to play patient, how to play with vision, this is a good example. So you can really look at the game and see what happens on the minimap once that we are seeing the Ducks just close to a talent lead, how they all of a sudden just switch their stance from being hyper-aggressive to being a lot more passive and trying to let their opponent guess. Don't show on the map, don't open up targets for your opponent, don't open up hook targets in particular, and just make sure that you reach the experience and then you gotta start the fight.
Well, the Playing Ducks get a victory under their belt, and you gotta be happy for them here after the performance yesterday not looking too good. Finally, we could see, okay, they can get a little momentum here. Now, what can they do with the momentum?
Yeah.
Can they come back here and take Trick Esports down in the series and earn a victory so they're 1-1? Or are they going to continue to kind of falter a little bit and Trick Esports finds their mojo again?
It's the first step. It's the first step on a long road. They need to win 2 more if they actually want to turn this around. And Trick now have, of course, the choice. They just lost the last one. They can either choose the battleground if they feel very confident. For example, they could decide to go into Battlefield again, which was their choice yesterday. Or they can simply say, you know what, we're going to the first pick and going to take